Well, hello again, my friends, to another little addition to the Rollman Revolution audio podcast YouTube page. Now, the last time I talked, I was speaking to the young people, and I'm going to speak to the young people a little bit more this time as well. But I'm also wanting to reach out to all of those people who are raising children today, and specifically asking them to kind of open your mind for just a little bit, because what I'm going to be talking about this week in particular is something that is near and dear to the hearts of a lot of different people around the world today, especially considering the fact that a lot of people believe that this is the best thing to do for your children as part of the foundation building process in their life when they are very, very, very young. And I don't agree with people on this aspect for a lot of different reasons. But I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying be open to the possibility of another alternative to this. And what I'm talking about this week in particular is organized religion or fundamental philosophy being brought into a child's life before they have even understood who the hell it is they are in this world. And let me explain this for a minute. When a child is just being born, when a young person is basically growing up, they're like a sponge, and they absorb pretty much everything there is around them. They will pick up by their parents' mannerisms and the way that their parents basically interact with one another and how they treat one another and how they treat their families. If your parents are racist, the child will actually see that the person is acting in a certain way towards a certain type of person, and they will pick up these kind of like little things that may be good, and in many cases are going to not be so good. They're going to be awful things. And the reason I wanted to talk about religion in particular this week is because I feel children, especially being brought up when they absolutely have nothing in that mind of them and they're brand new and they basically don't even have a thought really to stand on at that point, to push them into a certain type of belief system without even understanding themselves what this whole thing is all about may not be exactly the best thing for a child. And let me go a little bit step further. Okay, I was raised in the Catholic Church. I was born and bred and basically went through my entire school life in Catholic school and then continued on in the whole process of being a Catholic through my adult life up until probably I was about 30-ish or so. And then I started to realize something about myself, that all of the things that I was being taught, all of the foundations and all of the doctrines that were being spewed at me on a yearly basis, going through the entire church calendar process and everything else that was going out there, I started to realize that wasn't me, and that's not what I believed. And here's the problem. Here's the problem that comes into it. But now you have all of this foundation that is built within inside you, all of the decisions that you've made in your life, all of the fears, all of the guilt, all of the worry, all of the things that your life has actually been involved with or had to deal with up to that point, now bases it all on this terminology and foundation that you yourself just don't believe anymore. But unfortunately, now you're worried. Now you're worried. You have this second thought in your mind. Did I do a bad thing? Should I think like this? Should I think like that? Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. And the problem with baseline fundamental type teachings or organized religion or anything for that matter that tries to groom a person into a particular belief system, I think doesn't do the child or anybody for that matter any justice. And the reason I say this is because we're all different people, all built a different way, all have different talents and different understandings of the way life is. So to force a person into a particular way of thinking, I believe is wrong. Now, having said that, that does not mean that religion and religions in general and philosophies around the world in general are bad. I'm not saying that at all. I think there's a lot of good things that come out of certain types of religions and philosophies that are great foundational tools to give a child basically a baseline to start from. The difference, though, is that when you force the issue as the child grows up and gets older, and even you, and you can remember this, I don't really want to go to church on Sunday. I really don't want to go here. I don't want to do that. Why are we doing all of this stuff? What's that all about up there on that stage? What are they doing over here? Why is it that this person's not allowed to receive communion and that person is allowed to receive communion? Why can't this person get married in the church, and why can't that person? And then you get all these questions that bottle up. And people form certain opinions based upon the information that they've been given. They start to vote that way. They start to think that way in all of their conversations that they have in life. And unfortunately, that doesn't really give the person an opportunity to grow up and become the person that they are, because they have all of these preconceived notions that have been basically beaten into them from the time that they were a little baby all the way up until the point where they are now. So what I'm saying is that organized religion and philosophies around the world are not bad. I just feel that you can do these things in a very, very easy way without having to force any type of doctrine, religion, or creed into a person's life. You can be a good mother, a good father, a good parent, a good mentor, a good anything, just by being a good person around that individual. Look, for instance, if I'm a person who basically is happy all the time, and I'm saying all the time, but majority of the time, usually has an upbeat attitude, usually has a good way of seeing the world, tries to remain positive, is nice to other individuals, acts with integrity, moves myself and does good works for the people that I'm trying to serve every single day, trying to make a difference in the world, trying to make a difference in other people's lives. Don't you think that the people around me are going to notice that? I don't need to go to an organization or a church or to any type of institution in order for me to be a person like that. And a lot of people out there today say that you must. That's your foundation is what has given you that. No, it's not the foundation that's given me that. It's the actions behind the people that I was involved with on a regular basis that gave me those types of virtues and virtuistic type thinking. For instance, if you're a person who hangs around with drug addicts on a regular basis, you yourself are eventually going to become a drug addict. You base it on the principles of the people that you hang around with. You always heard that term, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. Well, that doesn't change at all when it comes to fundamental thinking or even as a child grows up. If it's hanging around parents that constantly say racist things or constantly cuss and swear, the child's going to pick up on racist things and cuss and swear. That's just basically what happens. We pick up these things by organization. We think that if they're doing it and it's okay for them, it must be okay for me. And religion and philosophy in general follows the same pathway, because we can literally socialize a person into a particular mindset simply by the continuous process of beating a certain type of ideology into them. I spoke last week to the young people about education and how the education system has pretty much ripped dreaming and imagination and critical thinking out of the human person today by the time you hit kindergarten and first grade. Well, religion pretty much does the same thing in a sense, not particularly in a bad way, but it does force different types of ideology and different types of thinking across the board to make the person believe that this is the way you get to heaven, this is the way in order you have to do it, if you follow this rule and this rule and this rule, and if you do these things and not those things, that you will find your place in salvation. Well, here's the deal with that. That is a belief. It's a faith. The people that are teaching this don't know this. They don't really have a damn clue. They just are basing it on things that somebody else taught them, and then they're basing it on something somebody else taught them. So it's like passing down from the generation to generation to generation to generation. Now, regardless if you believe in Christianity or believe in the Islamic faith or believe in Buddhism or the Tao or Hinduism or a Jew and believe in the Jewish faith, whatever belief system that you have, that's fine. I'm not here to argue with anybody about what it is they believe. The question I always keep asking people is, why do you believe what you believe? Do you believe it because somebody else told you that this is the true and so way? Or that group is the group of all groups? Who is the right God? Is my God better than your God? And the question you have to ask yourself is, who determines which God is given to each person? Well, I will say it's geographic. If you were a person that was basically born in Pakistan or Kazakhstan or the Middle East someplace, the likelihood of you being of the Islamic faith or believing in Allah is pretty damn good. If you were born in Israel, the likelihood of you believing in Jehovah or basically believing in the God of the Old Testament is pretty good. You would be Jewish. And if you're born in, say, in America or in South America and Canada and a lot of areas in Europe, the likelihood of you being a Christian is pretty damn good. Going a step further, if you were born in China or Japan or some of the Asian countries, the likelihood of you even being part of the Buddhist faith, the Tao, Confucianism, or even possibly Hinduism is pretty darn good. So which God is the right God? Should you believe in Krishna, or should you believe in Jesus Christ? Should you believe in Allah, or should you believe in the Dalai Lama, or should you believe in the interworkings, looking internal to find salvation? Or should salvation be looked up into the clouds, into the heavens up there? You know, because different philosophies and different terminologies based upon where you were born and what you believe will basically say, hey, this is what is true and so. And I keep trying to tell people that there's nothing wrong with religion as long as religion is done in the right aspect. I'm just saying that children are going to believe whatever you tell them to. This exact same thing that happens in in the education system today is going to be the exact same thing that happens within the organized religion sectors. That if you have a person who has nothing in their brain and now they're the sponge absorbing it all, they're going to believe whatever their parents tell them and whatever the priest tells them or whatever the minister tells them or whatever the rabbi tells them, because they're the authority figure. This is the only way you can get to hear from there, is by doing these sets of things in life. And I think that gives this child, or whoever it is growing up within this type of community, no choice. They are told what to believe and how to believe it and why to believe it. And now I'm asking you, the person watching this video, if you are a person of faith, if you are a person who practices one religion or another or a type of philosophy around the world, do you know why you believe what you believe? Is there a reason that you got on this road, or were you just incorporated into it, so you just go along with it because everybody else is going along with it, because that is your group? And God knows that you're the group of all groups, and my God is the best God because I have to save all of these other people. I got to go on mission trips around the world to let the Chinese know that Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven, and if they don't know about it, man, well, they're never going to get salvation. I mean, is that how we teach people today? Is that how religion really should be? And if you even think about it, religion has caused more wars and more people have died in the name of God than anybody else on the planet. I think God, an omnipotent being that knows everything about everything and can do anything that he or she wants to, pretty much can solve the problem at the end of time anyway. Why should human beings be going and acting in the name of God to try to destroy another group or another religious sect around the world because we don't agree with their God, or we think that whatever it is that their belief system is wrong? And this is where I come full circle with all of this. The problem that I have with organized religion and teaching in general is the fact that people need to open their eyes and open their hearts and basically open their mind to an understanding that the fact that we just don't know, okay? And through experience, through reading and through reacting and living life, understanding nature, your surroundings, the things that are actually happening around you within the people that you are around, and watching how that basically unravels in front of you is going to be the best education and the true understanding and wisdom that is going to be revealed to you within that moment. There is nothing that I can show you in a textbook that is going to make you believe that God exists. There's going to be nothing in a textbook that is going to basically make you believe that this virtue is the right virtue. It's only through that action and that experience in your life where you are basically around somebody who is just full of life and loves people and treats people with respect and honor and courage and love. When you see that happening, it's very, very addictive in a sense, and that may be something that you want to attract to. Also, if you're around a person who basically kills people left and right and just constantly abuses people left and right, you may pick up on that as well. And you're going to determine for yourself, is that the right way to live, or is this the right way to live? But society in general has this tendency to say we must put a foundation on every human person. We must drive a specific ideology into their brain at a young age so that they can formulate a certain hierarchy of opinion, getting to a certain place, so that they don't really have that choice. We've already given them the baseline. And by the time you're like in your teenage years, you've already pretty much have been indoctrinated into the system so much that you're almost not sure really what is right and what is wrong per se, if that religion is the right religion or if this religion is the right religion. So majority of us today have already been brought up and have already been taught a certain thing. I'm just asking people out there today to let your child decide. Let your child grow up and actually experience life and experience the people around them. If they see that the Catholics, and they like the way Catholics are acting and doing, and their rituals and all of that other stuff that goes along with it, then let them make the decision to be a Catholic. If they want to do it through the the Jewish faith or the Islamic faith, if they find some passion and comfort within those type of settings, then let them do that. Don't beat somebody over the head with a particular type of ideology or a particular type of organized religion or philosophy or anything for that matter. Give that person the opportunity. You can bring it to them. You can bring them the information, but let them decide what is right for them, what they are going to need in order for them to get through this life. And I always compare this to a psychiatrist. Religion and psychiatry, in a sense, have the same kind of feeling for me, that if you need to go to a psychiatrist to have your head examined, then you do. It's the same thing for a person who needs to go to a particular type of religion or faith or philosophy. If you feel that is the path, or that is the thing that you need in order for your life to become better, then do that. But don't assume that everybody else around you, especially us younger people, need that psychiatry when they themselves haven't even discovered who the hell it is that they are yet. So, I hope you guys learned something from this. I'm sure I'm probably going to get a lot of hell for this, and that's okay too. Leave me your comments. Send me an email. www.rollmanrevolution.com. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the other avenues out there. And I know this is a very controversial subject for a lot of people. I'm not here to tell anybody that their religion's wrong or their God is wrong or that God's better than this God or your philosophy's better than my philosophy. No, I'm just asking for people to allow their children and those who have never been exposed to any of this to make decisions on their own. Let them become the person they're supposed to be, and let them live the life that they're supposed to live. Because I guarantee you they're going to find great virtue, great love, great compassion, great integrity in just being around other people and seeing the goodness that happens through other people that are living that life. I don't believe that they need a building or a doctrine or a book in order to do that. I believe that they can discover this kind of stuff on their own. Nature has a wonderful way of sharing the truth with us if we only allow it to happen. Namaste, my friends. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.